Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And today we're going to continue talking about Korean cuisine. We talked about it last time. And last time we were kind of focusing on 한정식, which has been around for maybe a short time, maybe a long time. People aren't quite sure, but it's still a staple of Korean food. You get lots of little dishes with different types of food. And, of course, you're going to be really stuffed if you have such a meal. It's probably served on special occasions. I've never seen it served in local restaurants, but that doesn't mean they don't have it. I just haven't ordered it.
I've only had it once, but I didn't have it in Taiwan. I had it in Korea, and my friend took me to a very expensive restaurant. And I felt bad because I burned my tongue on one of the first side dishes, and then the rest I couldn't even taste much.
What a waste.
And it was a very expensive meal.
Indeed. So, of course, you can probably get some decent food in night markets in Korea, or you can get high-class stuff in expensive restaurants as well. And I think the case is true here in Taiwan. You probably got exquisite restaurants, and you've probably got some smaller family-run restaurants that serve basic fare for the common person. But again, we're going to be talking about some colorful dishes in Korean cuisine. So let's get to it. Let's read through the entire contents of today's lesson now one time. Just as in other cultures, Korean cuisine maintains its own food traditions around special events and certain times of the year. Some are related to important milestones in life, such as the birth of a baby. New mothers traditionally eat a simple but nutritious seaweed soup called myeokguk for several months after giving birth. People celebrating their birthdays also eat this for breakfast in honor of their mothers. During Korea's Mid-Autumn Festival, colored half-moon-shaped rice cakes, called songpyeon, are eaten in celebration. The preparation of certain foods is also a tradition on its own. Kimchi, arguably Korea's most famous food, is made in large quantities just before winter begins, so that each family can stock up for the year. Certain seasons and types of weather also call for specific foods. On the 3 traditionally defined hottest days of the year, people consume ginseng chicken soup in order to replenish nutrients lost through physical activity. In contrast, during periods of chilly rainfall, a popular choice is unfiltered sweet rice wine, or makgeolli. This is usually served chilled and often accompanied by a variety of dishes. One in particular that's often paired with makgeolli is pajun, a savory fried pancake made with green onion and other ingredients like kimchi, seafood, or pork. The sound of frying pajun is said to resemble rainfall, making this pancake a beloved dish on rainy days. There's even more to learn and love about Korean food, from regional specialties to modern interpretations of popular dishes. If all these descriptions left your mouth watering, head to a Korean restaurant to further explore the diverse colors and flavors of Korea for yourself.
So here we are. We're going to be exploring some more colorful Korean cuisine. Let's look at the first paragraph. Just as in other cultures, Korean cuisine maintains its own food traditions around special events and certain times of the year. That's true of most cultures. We know at Gwonian we have particular dishes that people like to eat. Or at Thanksgiving in America, of course, you have to have a turkey or some ham. So the Koreans do the same things. They have traditional dishes that are featured during special events or celebrations. Some are related to important milestones in life. A milestone is some sort of a goal that you've set, that you've reached. You can have milestones at work where you have a long project and you'll have like 10 milestones. And for each of those smaller goals that you achieve, that's called a milestone. And you might go and celebrate. Well, a milestone we're talking about here is a milestone in someone's life, like the birth of a baby. We have special traditions in Taiwan when someone has a baby. Well, they do in Korea as well.
Yep, all over the world there are special milestones, like the first time a kid gets his or her haircut, maybe the first time that you get your fingernails clipped, that could be a milestone, or when you have your wisdom teeth removed by the dentist, you might have a special meal to celebrate that. Of course, I'm kind of joking there. I don't think they really have those kinds of milestones, but in any case, the example we're giving here is the birth of a baby. It could be your wedding anniversary or your wedding or something like that. These are special milestones in one's life. A milestone, of course, represents the end of one stage and the beginning of another. It's an important transition in someone's life. And yes, we're talking about new mothers, and they traditionally eat a simple but nutritious seaweed soup called miyeokguk, and they do this for several months after giving birth. That sounds similar to me. I think here in Taiwan, of course, there's the tradition of having special food after a woman gives birth because these kinds of foods will help her body return to normal.
So people celebrating their birthdays also eat this for breakfast in honor of their mothers. I haven't had this particular seaweed soup before. Miyeokguk. So if you have, you might want to talk about this in class and see how others liked it, if they liked it or not. I think most cultures have particular dishes that are considered their traditional breakfast foods, right? We have pancakes, waffles, bacon and eggs. And in Japan, they have that rice porridge that they like to eat.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that's
I've
called.
seen it on cooking shows. That's all I can tell you. But yeah, most cultures have a particular type of breakfast food. Here it's even more special, though, because if you're celebrating your birthday, you want to celebrate your own day, but at the same time, you're honoring your mother by eating this nutritious seaweed soup. It's probably pretty salty. I'm not a big fan of seaweed, although that's very popular here in Taiwan as well.
And people celebrating their birthdays also eat this for breakfast in honor of their mothers. So if you're having a birthday, you might have this soup in order to say, hey, Mom, thanks for giving birth to me. I appreciate it. During Korea's Mid-Autumn Festival, colored half-moon-shaped rice cakes called songpyeon are eaten in celebration. So, yes, Korea has a Mid-Autumn Festival, just like we've got here in Taiwan. I don't know if they occur on the same date or not. They may or may not, but they have these half-moon-shaped rice cakes that are called songpyeon. A half moon, of course, is like the letter D, I guess, and so that's the kind of cake you eat there. The reason they eat them is in celebration of Mid-Autumn festivals. So, of course, celebration refers to the process of recognizing the importance of a certain day and having a good time. You might have a celebration for someone's birthday, or you'll have a celebration for a new harvest or whatever.
Notice we're using the preposition in, so you do something in celebration of something or of somebody. You could also just say the rice cakes called songpyeon are eaten to celebrate. You can also use that. But this is nicer, finer, written style English that you can use if you're writing rather than just speaking English. Now, the preparation of certain foods is also a tradition on its own. Oh, preparing kimchi is a big deal in Korea. Everyone learns how to make kimchi. I didn't know you could actually make it at home until I saw a cooking show, and then my old friend who's still in Korea told me, oh yeah, Steph, I make a new pot of kimchi every month or so. And then once you make it, you can just keep it in the fridge, the refrigerator, and it lasts for a while. Because it is pickled, and it's actually very healthy for your body. It gives your body some good bacteria.
Yeah, I like kimchi myself. It is a famous food there, although I don't think it's a main dish. It's kind of a side dish. At least that's how I've had it before. And, of course, they make it in large quantities just before winter begins. And they're going to stock up on kimchi because they can't produce cabbage, I guess, during the winter. So they need to have a good supply of this stuff to last for the entire year. Now, moving on to the next paragraph here, it says, certain seasons and types of weather also call for specific foods. So if you're talking about specific seasons, you're talking about winter, spring, summer, and fall. And then, of course, we've got different types of weather. Like here in Taiwan, of course, there are special meals you can have during the cold winter to help you feel warmer. And I think this is kind of the same concept here.
Yeah, I think I tend to like more hot pot here in Taiwan during the winter. In the summer, I'm already hot, so I don't want to have hot pot, thank you. But yeah, there are certain dishes that are more popular or eaten more in a particular season than others. So here it says in paragraph 2, certain seasons and types of weather also call for specific foods. Call for just means, it's something that's thought of when you think of this particular season. You might say this recipe calls for 3 cups of sugar. So that just means that recipe needs 3 cups of sugar. There's no call for getting angry. There's no reason for you to lose your temper. There's no reason for you to be angry. There's no call for something. We use it in different ways, to be honest. How do you usually use it, Tom?
Call for?
Yeah.
Well, right now I'm thinking about the term that was uncalled for.
Oh, yeah.
If somebody says something, 实在太过分,你这样说了,太过分, you could say, that was uncalled for, that was not necessary of you to say. But here, of course, it just requires specific foods. The weather kind of demands these specific foods for these special occasions. And before we take a break here, we can talk about one of those. On the 3 traditionally defined hottest days of the year, people consume ginseng chicken soup in order to replenish nutrients lost through physical activities. So during the hot summer, of course, if you're working outside in the fields or whatever, you're going to use a lot of energy and you'll lose a lot of nutrients. So if you have this special kind of soup, ginseng chicken soup, well, you can replenish those nutrients which you lost through physical activity. To replenish means to get the supply back again that you lost. Okay, so if you burn up a bunch of calories, well, you can replenish those calories by eating another meal. And nutrients, of course, are things that are good for you, like vitamins and minerals.
Moving back to call for, guys, before we take a break, I wanted to mention you could also substitute call for here for requires or needs or involves certain types of weather, calls for or usually suggests specific foods. There are lots of different words you could use as a synonym for that verb phrase to call for. But yeah, when you mentioned how you think of it in your mind, something was uncalled for. I grew up with parents who said that too. Oh, that was uncalled for. If you say something rude or mean, they're saying you didn't need to say that. So if something calls for something, it could also mean something kind of strong, like it demands that particular thing. Right now, though, what demands our attention is a few minutes with our Chinese teacher. We're going to listen now.
Hello everyone, 我是派老师。今天讲解的是3月24 Unit 14 Craving some colorful cuisine? Try Korean food 第2天课程。这个单元介绍韩国美食，昨天解释了韩定食，今天进一步介绍韩国人在节庆不同时节吃的传统美食。有兴趣的听众不妨下次到韩国餐厅试试看有没有这些菜肴可以点。好，我们一起来看学习重点，请同学看到第1段的第1句。Just as in other cultures, Korean cuisine maintains blah 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 这一句，请同学先把 just as 这个副词连结词画起来，就如同其他文化一样。再来呢，请同学看到第2个句子。那我们知道说，人的一生会有不同的阶段嘛，那有一些阶段是特别重要的 important milestones in life。那比如说什么出生啊、成年啊，这些都是 important milestones in life。再来，请同学看到第4个句子。那有一些孩子呢，他们也会吃特定的食物，什么时候吃？自己生日的时候吃。那吃这些食物，并不表示他们特别爱这些食物，而是为了要对母亲表达敬意。 早餐的时候呢，自己生日当天的早上呢，会吃这个样的东西来当早餐 ，in honor of their mothers， 向母亲表示敬意。那此外，中秋节也会吃一种食物呢，叫做松片。好，那再来呢，就请看到第7个句子第一段最后一个句子咯 ，kimchi， 请同学注意哦，我们现在啊，韩国他们已经正式提出了这个证明 ，kimchi 呢，他们把它译作新奇啊，不说泡菜。那新奇呢 ，kimchi 怎么样呢 ？Arguably Korea's most famous food， 是韩国最有名的食物。那很多人就算没有吃过韩国料理，也说得出 kimchi 这个字。那 arguably 就是堪称可谓。再来，请同学看到第2段，我们就看看到底在不同时节的时候，韩国人会吃什么样子的食物哦。所以第2段就举一年当中很热的日子的话，他们会吃什么呢？ People consume ginseng 就是人参鸡汤。哇，大热天吃人参鸡汤，为什么呢？ In order to replenish nutrients， 原来是要补充什么呢？补充营养 nutrients 营养素。replenish 这个动词请同学特别画起来。那它是什么意思呢？其实就是补充老师刚刚有讲过了。那包括说如果呢你家里面的食物吃完了，那你还想要再去超市去买来补，免得呢到时候肚子饿没东西吃，我们也可以用 replenish the stock。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, welcome back. We're continuing to talk about Korean cuisine in our program for today. Today, we're focusing on special meals that are eaten for important milestones or at different times of the year. Where we left off, we talked about some really hot days of the year, and according to tradition, they have defined 3 days of the year as being the hottest of the year. They may or may not actually be that hot, depending on the weather, but still, according to tradition, you need to have special meals on those days. And the example we gave you is ginseng chicken soup, and you eat that in order to replenish nutrients that you lost when you were working really hard at your job.
Right, that's possible too. So, in contrast, during periods of chilly rainfall, a popular choice is unfiltered sweet rice wine, or here's the Korean word for it, makgeolli. We're not really quite sure about the stress on this word, but makgeolli should be clear enough if you use it in a restaurant for them to know what you're talking about. When you talk about rainfall, it's just how much rain you're getting at a particular time. Taiwan has a lot of rainfall, you could say. I was talking to a cab driver, and my favorite season is fall. And I think of fall as a time when there's not much rain. There's more sun and the weather's nicer. And he was like, oh, no, it rains every day. So
it has the last couple of years, yeah. I remember the autumn in Taiwan being quite dry and pleasant and cool and windy.
Well, that's when your friend should come and see you, is in the fall.
Exactly. But unfortunately, sometimes the rain falls a lot. And like in Korea, here in Taiwan, the rain can fall in the winter and it's quite cold.
Oh, it's freezing.
So yes, during periods of chilly rainfall or rainy days in which it's pretty cold, a popular choice is unfiltered sweet rice wine, which is also called makgeolli. So, of course, rainfall, again, refers to when the rain falls. There'll be some rainfall tomorrow afternoon, for example. And if something's unfiltered, well, that means it has not gone through a filter. So some of the residue is still there. Like if you filter water, for example, it will take back some mercury and lead and stuff like that. And so I suppose this rice wine is unfiltered, which means it probably still has some of the grape skin in there. I'm not quite sure exactly how this works. And this is usually served chilled and often accompanied by a variety of dishes. So that's kind of unusual here on a cold, rainy day. You're going to have some chilled rice wine. If something's chilled, it's not really that cold, but it's colder than normal. It's colder than room temperature, and you'll drink it along with some other dishes. So to accompany means to be together with something, like, for example, when I was in band and participating in the music contests, I played the tuba for a tuba solo, but I was accompanied by someone on the piano.
Right. So it is chilled, meaning you'll put it in the refrigerator for a while. It won't be room temperature, and it won't be frozen. It'll just be chilled. You can also order chilled soup. Soup is usually warm or hot, but gazpacho, I think of gazpacho as one of the chilled soups that I love. So this particular dish is accompanied, as Tom said, by a variety of dishes. So it goes along with some other dishes that they have. One in particular that's often paired with magoli is pajeon. Pajeon, a savory fried pancake made with green onion and other ingredients. Now, that green onion and other ingredients in the fried pancake sounds like our bings that we eat, danbing, the bing. Now, if you have something savory, it's the opposite of sweet. I think of savory as something that has more of a saltier taste, more something that you'd find in meat, savory. Savory and sweet will often contrast those two. So this is a fried pancake. Love anything that's fried. And it's made with green onion and other ingredients. Ingredients are other things that are put into a dish that makes up the dish. So your recipe usually has a list of ingredients and then how to make that dish. How long to cook it? Do you fry it? Do you put it in the oven? That's all part of the recipe. But the ingredients are the actual food items and seasonings that you're going to use.
I remember a Korean restaurant in my neighborhood that is now a Yamaha motorcycle shop. But they did serve these pancakes, and my mother-in-law was a big fan of them, and they had different flavors depending on the ingredients, like kimchi, seafood, or pork, or whatever. And I wasn't there when they were preparing it, but I guess the sound of frying pajeon is said to resemble rainfall. So if you've ever been in a Korean restaurant when they're preparing this, you'll probably think, that crackling sound on the frying pan there sounds a lot like the rain falling outside. So therefore, people think, I just love that. It reminds me of a rainy day. Although I don't really like the rainy days here in Taipei so much. There are too many of them. I don't really need a reminder of the rain. But still, this is probably something very tasty to eat on a rainy day.
Yeah, they call it a beloved dish or beloved dish, something that's dearly loved by the people there. I can see why. So there is even more to learn and love about Korean food, from regional specialties to modern interpretations of popular dishes. So you've got regional specialties. Most restaurants, if you go to, will have dishes that are called the chef's special, the chef's specialty, or the restaurant specialty. It's the particular dish that they are very proud of. They think they do this dish very well, that no one else has a dish that tastes quite like theirs. So there are different regions, of course, in every country that have their own dishes that are popular. I remember the first time I went to Tainan, I thought, wow, their food is so sweet down here. I wasn't used to it. So every region of every country, they all have their own specialties. And you're going to find those in Korea and the cuisine there as well.
You got different interpretations as well. That just means they have a different definition as to how to prepare that meal, what ingredients to put in it. Like you said, the same dish in Taipei will be different from the dish down in Tainan. You'll have different interpretations of that dish. And if all these descriptions left your mouth watering, well, head to a Korean restaurant to further explore the diverse colors and flavors of Korea for yourself. Indeed, my talking about this has made me interested in having some Korean food. I think I'll try to make a reservation at my nearby Korean restaurant for tonight, in fact.
Sounds good. Right now, we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher, and then we'll be back to wrap this puppy up.
好，第二段还有几个句子，我们把它看完。好，我们看第3句。前面才讲大热天要吃人参鸡汤来补，那很冷的时候也有东西可以吃哦。很冷的时候呢，韩国人会吃什么呢？ In contrast， 是一个很明显的对比，大热天跟非常冷的时候。During periods of chilly rainfall， 下雨，天气又冷，那是冷上加冷啊。所以呢，热门的选择是没有过滤过的Unfiltered sweet rice wine 甜米酒。好，那很特别的是，韩国人喝这个酒的时候会配小菜。那这个搭配呢，英文用的呢就是 accompany 这个字。This is usually served chilled， 所以喝这个酒呢，通常都是冷的酒 ，and often accompanied by， 那会搭配小菜来吃。再来呢，请同学看到第5个句子。One in particular that's often paired with
막걸리。
那跟搭配这个甜米酒来吃的食物是什么呢？后面就讲 paired with 搭配哦，并不是甜食，是 a savory fried pancake。请同学特别注意的是 savory 这个词哦，它是形容词，其实就是只要不要是甜的。那是咸的或辣的这一类的食物呢，我们就会用 savory 这个形容词。好，那再来呢，请同学看到第6个句子 The sound of frying
Pajun
is said to resemble rainfall， 那就是这个煎葱饼的声音呢，据说听起来很像在下雨。resemble 是动词哦，请同学千万不要以为它跟 like 一样， like 是介系词 to 后面我们只能加动词，原形动词，没错，你加了 like 就不对，因为 like 是介系词。这个煎这个葱饼的声音呢，听起来就像在下雨。The sound of frying
Pajun。
那煎这种葱饼的声音就像下雨一样 resemble rainfall。 最后第3段有2个句子 There's even more to learn and love about Korean food。那关于韩国美食、韩国料理，其实呢有更多值得我们学习、更多值得我们去爱的。There's even more to， 那就是后面这件事情其实不止如此哦。好，最后呢第2个句子 If all these descriptions left your mouth watering， 请同学特别注意 leave 这个动词，这边呢意思是如果让你口水直流，倒不是说有什么东西流下来了。那后面加了受词以后，还会再加一个受词补语 watering， 这里其实就是受词补语，流口水的。如果这让你口水直流，那就赶快去韩国餐厅找韩国美食来吃吧。好，以上就是我们针对韩国美食第2天课程所做的中文讲解，谢谢大家。
That's it, guys. We hope you enjoyed this 2-day unit on Korean food, and we hope you get the chance to go out there and try some delicious Korean cuisine. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom. Goodbye.
Bye.